What's going on, guys? I'm a regular guy with the Regular Guy Firearms channel. Thanks for watching. Now, when a lot of us start carrying rifles around and stuff, and this is regardless to what um, realm of the world that you work with, meaning whether or not you're a police officer or a military dude or an average, everyday, regular guy, right? Here's the thing. When we start carrying around rifles and stuff like that, the number one thing that you should have as a companion to that rifle is a pistol. Okay, for various reasons. Not just the emergency thing, but in small and confined spaces, you may want a pistol over a rifle, but that's another video. Okay. When we carry that pistol, though, we have to have a set of considerations for that pistol. Okay. Now, I've gotten a lot of different questions and stuff on the particular holster that I'm running, and then when I tell people about the particular holster that I'm running, they then ask me how exactly I set it up. Because yes, there is a video on the holster that I currently run where I reviewed it, and I love it. Okay, so here's the thing. When we start messing with our holsters, right, we have to understand why it exists in the first place. Okay, now a drop rig holster is exactly that. It is supposed to drop just free of your rig. I know you guys have seen this everywhere, okay? Particularly if you're, well, just from my mileage, particularly in military circles, okay? To where we see the dudes with the drop rigs on, and first of all, there's Serpa, which don't use that thing, like, ever. Especially if you plan on, stepping outside. And I'm going to jump on a soapbox really fast about that, because here come the questions. The button on it, or really any other button release type system that is over yonder, okay? The big problem with that is that if you get junk in it, the button's going to freeze. Okay? We are not in stand-up shot timer land, okay, where the beep is the most threatening thing that you're going to hear. If you get into unconventional or difficult or ugly positions, especially if you're rolled over on this side, chances are this is getting just slung up all in that. And even if you're not in a shooting position like that, just getting goofy with the ground to make things work will mean that your pistol holster will just go into stuff. Okay? I just cannot get most of this freaking clay off. I've tried, and it's just not coming off. Okay, so that's a testament to how hard that stuff can cake in there sometimes. Now, if any of that gets into a button, it's done. It's gonna freeze. You're not gonna get your pistol out, and chances are, if you needed that pistol out, you really needed it, and now you're a dead guy. Moving on. I like bales. Now, when we set up that holster and stuff, the first thing that we need to consider is, okay, it needs to drop just free of the rig. Cool. The next thing that we need is that it needs to be as high up and close to the belt line as we can get it. And the reason why we want it as high up and close to the belt line as we can get it is because, first thing, for most of us, the vast majority of us, your pistol is your primary weapon, right? If you're a green suit guy or a SWAT guy or whatever, I get it. Your rifle is probably your primary weapon, right? However, for the vast majority of us, your pistol is your primary weapon because that's what you carry around the most. Okay, now we have guys that carry appendix and we have guys that carry in the more traditional methods, but if we have a pistol that's closer to what we practice and train with the most, wouldn't it make sense that when we set it up with a rifle and on an exterior holster like a drop rig or something, right, that it be pretty close to where you carry it normally? That's the first thing. The second thing is that we need to require a certain amount of movement. So what I would suggest is that when you put this on, and I'll go through how I adjust this, but when you put it on, throw on your kit also, and then just do the side-to-side movements and make sure that you can move with that kit on without it disturbing your holster. Okay. My thing is that I want zero contact with it. So there's that. And the most annoying thing that I hear on a regular basis, and this is particularly from military circles, but that's because it's my mileage, is that they want the holster way down here because they want their hand to just be able to grab it. Now, first of all, I already know that this is laziness. You don't want to learn how, or you don't want to adjust it yourself. You just don't want to mess with it, so you invent a justification for it. So no, I don't believe that even for 1 second, because having a holster way down by your knee is in no way at all ever ergonomic for you. That's number one. Number two, when you see people walking around and the holsters are just swaying about, again, the justification that anyone has for that is absolutely false, because they're just trying to justify laziness, really. Because if I cannot sprint with the gear that's on my body, it needs an adjustment or it needs to come off, period. Okay. Now, as far as adjusting the holster itself, okay, when guys see my Safariland 6000 series review, I get a lot of questions following that video because their Safariland came with a lot of stuff. Okay. Now, generally speaking, a stock Safariland holster comes with a lower strap, an upper strap, and then there is a connecting thing that attaches to this, that attaches to a clip, that attaches to another clip, that attaches to your belt. And you can see how tall that'll end up getting. So, because I want this holster as high as I want it, and because I want it to move less, and because I want it to be as close to the belt line as I can afford it to be, I just get rid of all of the top stuff and the first strap. I get rid of them. Just period. Just gone. Right? And the next question will follow up, well, how do you affix it to your belt? Well, there is a Velcro section, right, that is meant to loop through that first connecting thing that you can actually just use to loop through your belt. And what is really neat about this is that once you've looped it through your belt, this strap here that would be affixing the rest of the holster to your leg will actually pin it down once you snake it in. One, your belt goes through here, and then you snake this portion of it through that bottom section. It closes off, your belt stays here, and the strap that is connecting itself to your leg binds that into place. It's going nowhere. I promise you. Pretty much every rifle class and shotgun class that I've ever been to, I've worn this holster. It's been years now, and there's been no issues from it moving inadvertently in any awkward or weird direction or coming out of place. Okay. The next thing is that I make sure that this is properly adjusted to my leg. Okay. Making this as tight as possible without cutting off circulation in your leg and allowing free movement. Okay. And you may end up with some excess, and there are these little Velcro straps here that you can use to try and bind it down. What happens more often than not is that you'll either lose them or they'll start to hike their way up a little bit. But honestly, it is what it is at this point. So when you throw this guy on, you're just going to take special consideration in the fact that, okay, you have your belt, and if you have a stiff belt like this one, it's going to be a little bit of a pain. Once you have that belt in there, you throw this little strap out, and then you just pull in on it until you're pretty much out of room, until this portion itself cinches up tight to the belt that you're using. Okay, so once you have that settled up, you can adjust your little bottom strap or whatever. Okay, and then from there, you're just going to loop it around. And I swear to God, it feels like I'm messing with dude lingerie, but it's on. It's not gonna move anyplace. And once you have that where you want it, then you can go ahead and toss your pistol into it. This particular Safariland holster accommodates a light, And my personal philosophy is whatever standard that you have for concealed carry, that's cool. But whatever you are getting ready to do with a rifle, your pistol had better be able to deal with at least some of the same mission that that rifle is supposed to accommodate. So if there is a light on your rifle, and there should be, and you want a sidearm to accommodate it, it better have a light also. Okay. So when it comes to that, it ends up very instinctive to be able to just draw the thing, because let's say that I need a pistol, pick a reason, and it's not always that the rifle is now empty and I need it in an emergency. It might be because I'm in a small room. But we're doing our thing, and for some reason we need our pistol. Okay. How much more instinctive do you want that to be? Would you have rather that I just had to go ahead and draw this thing as if I would from a concealed carry outside the waistband holster? Or would you have rather me reach all the way down after that? I personally would just rather not. I would rather take the path of least resistance, go to a pistol, and do what it is that I have to do. Makes sense? Well, that's all I got to say about that, guys. I hope that answers the question to the particular individual that asked me to do this video. If not, go ahead and send me a question. If any of you have questions, go ahead and throw those in the comments box below. Personal experiences and all of that are welcome as well, because as I said in the last video, those that ask questions are oftentimes answered by the smart guys that are subscribed to me already. But that's it, guys. Remember to join us at Gun District. I'll leave a link to that in the description below. And remember, guys, a regular guy's firearm is the last defense against tyranny. Peace. Now I'm going to walk up here all awkward and stuff. Turn this off.